Hey everybody, welcome back.
Welcome to Home on the RNG, which I say now.
Russ has stolen it
I now
from
say
me.
it. Yep.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Denise.
And I'm not.
For new listeners, figure it out for yourselves.
Remember when what was that game where you can go to all the different randomly generated planets?
No Man's Sky.
And I named a cow on one of the planets Denise White Candle. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that at all, but that's fine. Denise White Candle, may you always live in peace. I hope she hasn't been wiped out.
I know. Yeah.
We are here today to talk about the final game in Sequel-Palooza. What is Sequel-Palooza? I'm so glad you asked. It is the series of games we've clumped together that is the second game in a series where we've already reviewed the first game. Makes sense. They're all number 2s, except so many of them have been number 1 in our hearts.
I'm just thinking about pee and poo.
I know. I know you are.
I know.
You always are. Mm-hmm. Those are the TikToks you send me.
Yeah.
Outside of recording episodes of Home on the RNG, Russ and I primarily communicate through TikTok videos sent back and forth. Russ sends me poop TikToks, and I send him a smorgasbord of TikToks that sometimes have farts in them.
And a lot of big-breasted women.
Not near as many as I could.
Oh, I know.
I saved most of those for Rachel.
Yeah. Okay.
Rachel and I also largely communicate through TikTok videos. But we're not here to talk about TikTok. We are here to round out Sequel-Palooza with the game we said we wouldn't do, and then Russ said we could, and then we did. It's Shining Force 2.
Yeah, I said you could do it, but...
You said we could do it. I already did it. So let's go ahead and move into...
So we're ending Sequel-Palooza on a fart.
A fart of victory. Let's move into personal history. I played this game for the first time about 12 years ago. It was right after I played Shining Force 1 for the first time. My friend Jessica recommended the series to me because it has centaurs in it, which is a very good reason for me to play a video game. And she recommended well. I grew up as a Nintendo kid, so I largely missed anything that was exclusive to the Sega systems. I'm not used to actually having personal history. Shining Force 2 is a tactical role-playing game, so it's an SRPG, but we cover those from time to time. For the Genesis console, developed by Sonic Software Planning, there's an exclamation. There's an exclamation mark, you gotta pronounce it. Sonic Software Planning, and published by Sega in 1993. The storyline is not directly connected to the original Shining Force, although a Game Gear title, Shining Force Gaiden Final Conflict, does link the two games' plots.
Fair.
I tried to pass a piece of paper across the table to Chris. It was tragically bad.
It's okay. We've revived it.
Hey, Russ, what's your personal history with Shining Force 2?
My personal history is that I tried to play this at some non-specified time in my life because of trauma. I've trauma blocked it out of my brain. And I died in the first battle and said, this isn't for me.
I don't think Russ actually likes SRPGs, is what I've learned from this.
I like Fire Emblem.
I don't think Russ
and I like Jeanne d'Arc.
I don't think Russ actually likes the genre. With few exceptions.
I think one character won one fight and their speed went up by 1.
That was in Shining Force 1. And you talked about it incessantly.
Well,
that doesn't happen
they
in
cross
this game.
over in my brain.
Nobody levels up 1 speed because the stat boosts aren't random in this game. They are programmed.
Interesting.
Chris, do you have any history with Shining Force 2? Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, yeah. So I was the rare hybrid Nintendo and Genesis kid growing up because I happened to get a Genesis in 1993, 1 year after I got a Super Nintendo. So while I would consider myself primarily a Nintendo kid, I definitely played a lot of Genesis games, especially once I discovered RPGs. This game I actually got to anticipate because I had played the entirety of the first Shining Force upon receipt of my Genesis, and I also had a subscription to Sega Visions, which covered this game extensively.
What is Sega Visions?
It was like their Nintendo Power.
Oh my god, I didn't know that existed.
I didn't even know it existed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It instilled in me a powerful lust for the Sega CD that I would not get until my 20s.
Yeah.
And then once I did, I was like, oh, what's this?
Yeah, I never had the Sega CD. I wanted for Lunar.
Yeah. Lunar.
I remember seeing Lunar in magazines, and I was like, I have to play this game. And then I'm like, what is a Sega CD?
Yeah. And there was also like I remember previews for Vi.
Yeah.
And like they showed like, of course, the cinematic cutscenes, of which there's like, a few.
Yeah.
They're like a few frames long, and yet that's enough screenshot to last a kid. Yeah, to just
light your imagination.
Exactly, it gets the hamster wheel running. So yeah, I got to anticipate Shining Force 2. So whenever Shining Force 2 actually came out, terrible cover notwithstanding, I really.
I mean, that was the era where every JRPG was drawn like a fantasy novel.
Yeah, and this
like a
one
Western fantasy novel.
This one, the hero is so uggo. Whenever it's like he's
That's
bashing.
why Russ doesn't like it.
He's like bashing an ogre. He's like, his face just looks awful. I mean, I guess it's better than the like completely assless hero of the first game box art. his legs just go straight up to his belt. It's like amazing how it's just anatomically weird. You don't even have to be into butts, but it helps. Anyways. Yeah, Shining Force 2 did come out. I picked it up, played it incessantly until I beat it the first time, and then I beat it a second time, and then it's one of the earliest games I beat on my fledgling stream. Played it all the way through, and I have barely any recollection of having done so. It's all like hidden away on my YouTube channels, like unlisted videos.
Well, let's go ahead and dive into the story and the oh so many deeply detailed characters.
Oh my god, characters.
When a thief accidentally unseals an ancient tomb, the king of demons awakens and threatens to destroy the world. It's up to a plucky teenager to gather an army and save the world before it's too late. He has about 30 hours to do so. Not in-game. It doesn't. There's not a time element in the game. That's just about how long it'll take you to beat the game.
The actual plot of this game is all the adults completely eschewing any responsibility, especially friggin' Astral.
Yeah, the great adventurer and great wizard, the most powerful of his age, who cannot be stopped by demon nor man, says, hey, you teenagers got this, right? Go on.
Hey, you guys, this is part of your class, okay? You guys go out there and do all the dirty work. Thank you. I will be in the tank.
Like the first game, there's a lot of like hidden recruitable characters. If you do this scenario and that scenario and you trip this flag, then you can recruit this character. There's some missable ones.
Some really, really missable ones.
Yeah. But none of the characters get a whole lot of personality, right? Because there's not a lot of dialogue-heavy scenes. You can go through towns and you can get to know some NPCs, but the members of your party, each one maybe has 5 unique lines throughout the game for the most part. It really is about the gameplay loop of just going into these giant map battles and destroying your enemies.
Or getting destroyed by them, and then...
Not the way I play.
Thing.
It is a little interesting, though, how, like, when you... With a few exceptions, of course, but if you go through, like, each character and, like, look at them, you can, like, remember enough of, like, the 1 or 2 sentences of their story to where you're, like, actually invested, right? Ironically, the starting characters are the ones that get the least development and characterization, because these just your pals.
So, my MVP character for the whole game was Peter the Phoenix.
That's everyone's
with
MVP.
his ridiculous bowl cut.
Most valuable Phoenix.
Yes, he.
Well, it's a bowl cut that turns into a fabulous emo hairstyle.
It does as he ranks up. My God, he is so powerful. He's basically an in-game cheat code, and he's not a missable character. He's not a secret character. You get him. He flies, which is extremely useful in these maps because terrain doesn't bother him, and he's extremely strong. Although it does keep saying like, "Ooh, and phoenixes can resurrect themselves." Yeah, except when you get him, he doesn't count as a phoenix until you rank him up, until he levels up his class, then becomes a phoenix. Then he will resurrect himself from the grave. Because this game does have... It doesn't have permadeath. It has kind of like Dragon Quest style death. So they go unconscious, and you have to go to a priest to revive them for a cost.
And like the first game, the priest just goes down the list of dead people. He's like, "Oh my,
oh no,
oh my, Slade's been killed again."
Look at all the corpses you're dragging around.
You want to revive this rat ninja? That'll be 530 gold, please.
The first time I played this game, I bailed on Slade. This time I focused on Slade, and he is incredible.
It's Slade the rat.
Slade is the rat who turns into an awesome ninja.
Although a glass cannon through the whole thing. Lots of power, very low defense.
Yeah, you got to be careful with how you deploy him, but... and you can also, there's rings and things you can use to boost his defense. He's very powerful.
We're going to come back to boost in a second.
Kiwi. I felt like Kiwi is the most missable recruit you can get.
Yeah, I was going to say the most tragically missable, because if you don't rescue him, that's me doing a thumbs down.
Yeah. Basically, when your village is under attack and falling apart, if you don't go into one building where nothing really interesting has been...
An unmarked building where you found him before...
then you don't get to recruit him ever. If you don't get in there and recruit him during that tragic moment when you should just be rushing to the boat. Kiwi is like a baby... He's a baby Gamera, and he can eventually grow into a full-size Gamera.
I wouldn't say full-size, because Gamera's like 300 feet tall. But
okay, he can eventually turn into a slightly less baby Gamera.
There you go.
He has... very high defense and almost no hit points. He's kind of a metal slime. I really wanted to turn him into something useful, but he got out-leveled by the rest of the party so fast.
He's got some real weird like strategy elements to him.
And I'll talk about characters getting out-leveled in the combat system.
Now, can I give a shout-out?
Absolutely.
Here's one character. This is my MVP. Who can never get out-leveled because she can level infinitely. It's Karna. Do you know about Karna?
I don't know about this infinite level Karna.
Let's talk about Karna. So Karna is one of the selectable characters after the infamous chess game, in which you get to pick from one out of 4 characters that get presented to you. Let's see, Tyron.
I thought it was 3, but...
It's Karna, Tyron, Randolph, and... Eric, yes.
And you can get the other ones that you don't pick later, but they are missable. You can miss going back to get them.
Yes. Karna is the healer of the group. Now, at this point, you probably might pick her because you might be light on healers. I mean, you get Sarah, who is great, by the way. She's such a sweetie, even though she gets like no story, but she always has like some fun commentary, especially since her and Chester kind of pick on each other a little bit. I love Sarah. Sarah is great healer girl. Karna is on a whole different level. If you get, especially if you get the special item, which I think we're going to probably talk about this in innovations, but if you get the special item to make her, instead of a vicar, to go all the way up to Master Monk with her.
Oh, I love Master Monks.
She is the only recipient of a special spell. It is... I think it's boost level 2 or 4, something like that. It's the top level boost spell. She can use it to increase the defense and speed of every character on the map. It has no field of effect, so it is every your character, not the enemies. And it is a guaranteed 49 experience points every single turn for her. So you can level her up to 99 anytime you want, and her stats will go through the roof.
So I had Karna. I used Karna a lot. I did not get to boost level 4.
Yeah, if you
I used her lower level boosts constantly because it's just so good, and there's no reason not to.
Yeah, if you do that, it doesn't take very long, but she is one of the characters that is like practically broken with how much experience she can just gather for herself when she's not doing anything else, which, by the way, she can kick so much ass as a Master Monk. Master
Monks are fantastic because they have those great healing abilities, but they can also dish out some really good damage.
Yeah. And Karna, like I said, is the best of them, even though Sheila is also great. Shout-outs to a nude character in a 16-bit RPG.
Yep.
For only 3 frames, but hey.
But those pixels, all 5 of them.
And by the way, her, Karna, and Sarah in a regular game can all become Master Monk. Well, she is a Master Monk when you get her, but Karna and Sarah, you have enough items to actually, the Vigor Balls, to get them both into Master Monk territory. So
if you have the balls.
You can have, if you have the balls, you can have 3 Master Monks, and that is a party.
Oh, yeah. Russ, did you have a standout character?
I liked Sarah. Yeah.
She's good. I mean, I turned her into a Master Monk pretty early on. She's very useful. Let's go ahead and move into the combat system. I have so many notes. So I feel like most people's exposure to SRPGs is Fire Emblem. I feel like that's probably the biggest.
Can we talk about Fire Emblem?
So the biggest difference between this and Fire Emblem. So yes, kind of. We can talk about Fire Emblem. When you attack or are attacked, it is very rare for the other side to get a counterattack. So generally in Fire Emblem, it's I swipe, I get swiped at, that's the turn. In this game, it's I swipe. Generally speaking, sometimes characters can get counterattacks, but it is unusual.
Sometimes double hits can happen.
And usually unexpected. Yes, sometimes you get a second attack. But what you grow to expect when you attack is I will attack, that's the end of it, or they will attack me. Which can change your strategy, because like in Fire Emblem, there's not really a risk to luring a character away from his pack to attack you. In this one, you want to lure them away, but you want the first attack because you don't get to retaliate generally.
Yeah.
So it is a slightly different experience. Characters gain experience for attacking and healing, like Chris discussed. So the most experience you can get is if they actually kill an enemy. The final blow gets more experience. You get almost no experience for using items, but you get some.
Healers can get more experience for using healing items, but yeah.
The most experience you can get in attacking is when you're fighting an enemy that is roughly your level. If you are massively stronger than the opponent, you'll just get 1 XP even if you kill them. If they are massively stronger than you, likely you'll only do 1 point of damage and get 1 XP. So grinding is not super effective after a point. Right.
Yeah.
There are people who love to sit here and play video games and like, I'm going to grind to level 99.
Diminishing returns.
Not here, you're not.
Although there is an interesting workaround to that's in this game that I can talk about in a bit.
And that's when characters can get behind. And once a character falls far enough behind, it is very difficult to catch them up. That's what happens with Kiwi. When you first get Kiwi, his defense is so high that he's very useful as a tank on the front lines. He's got like 6 hit points, but generally he's going to take 1 point of damage when he's attacked. So that's 6 attacks.
Any character that can tank 6 attacks is a valuable character.
Absolutely. But unless you are very careful in like nurturing his growth, he will get out-leveled. And when he gets out-leveled by your party, it's almost impossible to catch him back up because now he's dying in 1 hit to opponents and he's dealing 1 HP of damage. Slade, I had some difficulty with And the trick is just to have Slade follow a more powerful fighter or a couple of more powerful fighters and let him get the finishing blow. So he gets a lot of experience, other people soften him up, but I couldn't mimic that with Kiwi. I tried.
Now, okay, I'm going to make a case for Kiwi because I'm going to throw another character under the bus. So here's the thing about Kiwi is that he, having high defense, not very good attack, but eventually gets promoted and nurtured into a good character. It's kind of like Adam in the first game, the cyborg. The thing about Adam is that he is only available for 6 fights away from the ending credits. You only have him for that many fights, so why even bother? At that point, he is literally the last character that you can get besides a character who is, Hanzo the ninja, who is actually powerful enough to hold his own immediately. Kiwi you get right at the beginning of the game, so you have that opportunity, and that's totally fine. A character you get way later in the game, again as a missable option, is Claude the Golem, who cannot move for anything.
I put like a ring of movement on him, and it's still like, you know what? I'll go with Zix or the robot. I'll go with the robot.
It's like
who also can't move much.
Yeah.
But
he dishes out a good amount of attack, but by that time you got so many characters that can go all over the map. Which, by the way, when you promote Kiwi, he's essentially a flying character, so he can actually go over rough terrain without a movement penalty. So that's actually really useful. But Claude, you have a limited amount of permanent movement increasing items, running pimentos, or the movement ring or whatever, and like you could get him to where he's useful, but it's like you can so much better like put that into a different character. I feel like Kiwi, is a little bit of a problem character. I feel like Claude is the one that's like really gonna hold you back.
I didn't even mess with Claude, but since you get Kiwi early on, and you can feel. Like, if you've played video games enough, you get a sense of like, oh, this is a weird little character. I'll bet you if I nurture him and level him up and rank up his class, he's going to be awesome. I'll bet you that's how he's designed. I've never been able to turn him awesome.
It's hard. He's no Domingo. Domingo was like one of those where he's like kind of a little underperforming at first, and then like he just becomes this incredible flying fry guy wizard.
One of the things I love about this game is because you have mages who have area of effect spells, and of course, the more powerful as those spells level up, the area of effect and the strength of the spells goes up. They do not have friendly fire, which is great. Like, let me cast fire over a huge area. I've got 3 guys in there. I don't care.
No Final Fantasy Tactics penalties here.
Yeah, I was nervous to start. It's been a while since I've played Shining Force 1. I can't even remember if there was friendly fire in that one. But I was nervous to use area of effect spells at first. I was just like, okay, I'm playing it on the Sonic Mega Collection thing, which has a rewind option. Let me just use an area of effect spell and see what happens. And no friendly fire. Go nuts. Have fun. Summon Odin and have Odin really knock the hell out of some people.
A summoner, by the way, another one of those
unlockable
classes. Unless you get the character who's won right away. That's the cool thing about it. Again, I guess we should save that for innovations, though. But
I found the enemy AI very hard to predict. Generally, my approach in this game, and I feel like it's the right approach, but maybe I don't know what I'm doing, is to slowly advance the party to try to lure enemies in very small groups or individually, right? You do not just charge into battle. That's how you die. And sometimes the enemies zoom right to you, like they're on the other side of the world from you in this battle, and they're like, no, beeline straight to you. Other times they're like, no, you're 5 steps away from me. I'm not moving. Come face me and my bros. I'm not moving from this spot. I also had a couple of times where I would get a ranged flyer who could just pick off enemies who would stand still. They had no way to react to this. So like 3 rounds of having javelins hurled at them from a flying guy they couldn't reach, and they were like, I guess I just have to stand here and die.
Guess I'll die.
Sometimes I think that in our current world climate.
That's what they want you to feel. Every battle has a boss, but often it's not clear who that is. When you kill the boss, all remaining enemies on the board die and you win.
It's like a Starbucks.
Yeah,
Somewhere there's a boss. You have no idea which one it is. Which one to use the manager.
And when you kill them, all the employees despawn. Generally, you want to save the boss for last because you want to get the most experience. You want to squeeze all the experience you can out of a battle, except on that chessboard battle. Go straight for the king. Just get that one over with. My God.
That battle.
That one is brutal. I was doing really good at the game, and I was like, okay, I remember this battle being hard.
Yeah.
But I got this. No, I did not have that.
You didn't got that, yeah.
Nobody's got that battle. That battle sucks.
You earn Karna from that one.
Often before a battle starts, there's just a little bit of dialogue. Generally, whatever enemy is talking to you is the boss. But the boss is often just like, there's 5 enemy wizards on the screen, and one of them is the boss. You can try and pay attention to the combat and try and keep track, or you can use a guide to know who the boss is. Eventually, sooner or later, you're going to kill a boss you didn't mean to, and the battle's going to be over.
Indeed.
That's what I have for combat systems.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, all I can add to that really is that this game versus the first one presents a lot more variety. You have a lot more flying characters, options for flying characters. You have like tanks with really, really good range but low movability, and you get an opportunity to have 2 of them. You have like I said, a lot of you have like your boost level 4 or whatever, where you can like affect every member of the actual like battle. And yeah, lots more variety in the types of like landscapes that you end up in versus the other one where it's mostly like just fields and castles. Yeah, lots of different situations and a lot more battles than the first game. The first game had like battles in like the 20s, I think, and this one's more like 50. But I don't remember how
no, I don't remember
is.
either.
It's almost twice as many, though.
I was using a guide to help me to make sure I don't miss it. Generally, when I'm playing a review for playing a game for review on Home on the RNG, I do use a guide because I want to get the most out of the game. Mm-hmm. I want to make sure I look in every nook and cranny, I encounter every hidden character.
Which, by the way, this game not only has hidden characters, they have hidden battles. So, like, there's... Yep. And there's one particular battle that has end game like enemies in it. So if you're clever or don't mind dying a lot, you can grind your characters against these end game enemies and end up like 10 levels above where you should be. So this actually is a game where you can overgrind if you really want to.
Yeah, you can. It's
just tedious.
It's very tedious. I mean, I did a little bit of grinding because it's helpful in the right places, but generally, you're just going to move forward.
Yeah.
Like we are now, to innovations.
Innovations.
While Russ watches cat videos.
Innovations.
He's tracking the innovations in cat videos.
So as we've alluded to, there is a promotion system. At level 20, certain characters, especially those acquired early on...
And this is versus level 10, which is the earliest promotion in the first game.
Yeah. You can promote to a new class. Promoting to a new class means a bunch of stat boosts, and normally it means that the skill points that they get will be better than their base class. So they generally level up better in an advanced class. However, the general strategy is not to level them up as quick as you can. What I read is the ideal one is to hold them in their initial class until about level 30, and then promote them.
You can go up to 40 if you want.
Yeah, if for hardcore mode, you can go up to 40 if you're really a grinder and you really want to spend the time. And it's because... when you promote them, they go back to level 1 in their new class. There is a cap on levels. They can't go beyond 40, I think, for their initial class. I think,
yeah. It's like, there is a cap, for sure.
And then you get into the new class, and you can go all the way up, but they keep their stat boosts for the most part. I think there's 1 or 2 exceptions. But they keep all of the stats they earned previously, so there's a benefit to not promoting them immediately to give them more stats in the long run.
Yeah, and you can drive yourself crazy trying to do this with every one of the characters. You
yeah.
certainly will spend a lot of time in the particular couple of battles in which you can gain enough experience to get to level 30 in your old class and be strong enough in level 1 in your new class to not die immediately. Mm-hmm. So those are all concerns that you have to kind of have for yourself. It's not really recommended to do it that way. You can really just motor through this game and promote them whenever you feel is the right time, and the game is going to be just fine with you doing that.
I did it around 30, but some of them were like at 25, and I just want to have them in their new class. I want the new features. I want the abilities.
I want the new sprites.
The new sprites. I want them to change. And I even have in my notes just for you, Russ. It says to relieve Russ's problem with Shining Force 1, you never level up and get 1 speed.
Yep.
All of the characters have a set progression. But every time you get to level 3 with this character in this class, they will get these 3 stats boosted this much. You can actually go online and see spreadsheets and charts. This is what their stats will be at every level. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with either way. Just because the original Shining Force is so short, I'm not even...
But Russ was very upset when he would level up and they would just get 1 speed.
Yeah, I almost threw my console across the room.
I'm sorry.
I was like, excuse me. I mean, granted, that is the same like in Fire Emblem. If you get like 1 res.
Man, yeah, you just love to level up in Fire Emblem and just see that +1.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Kind of like what we talked about earlier. There are hidden items that allow certain characters to promote to special classes. Although you can also find characters that are already that special class if you miss the hidden item.
Yeah, it's really interesting because some of them are permanently already promoted to the 2nd class, and some of them are already in the 3rd class. It's mostly that the items are for your characters that you get to nurture from their 1st class, because you do not get to promote from the 2nd class to the 3rd class. You only can skip the 2nd class and go straight to the 3rd class from the 1st one. So for instance, like when you have a Centaur Knight, the natural progression is for them to get promoted to a Paladin, which is just a fancier knight. However, with the wings item, you can change them into a Pegasus Knight.
Oh, and they are so good.
But if they're already a Paladin, no Pegasus Knight for you.
Nope.
Then you just get Jaro, who starts off as a Pegasus Knight and stays that way for the rest of the game.
The Pegasus Knights are great, especially... So, the Centaurs can equip spears or javelins. Javelins can be thrown, spears cannot.
Yeah, and then it becomes a question of, well, do you like Chester more or Eric more?
Oh, I've forgotten their names. Who's the one you start with?
Chester.
Okay, Chester was my guy. Chester became my Pegasus Knight. He was great.
See, I always made Eric my Pegasus Knight, because I don't know, it felt weird, like, changing Chester that much from
having him grow wings.
Yeah, having him be my pal. Same thing with Sarah. It's hard for me not to make Sarah a vicar, even though Master Monk is so much better.
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten over that since then, but yeah, it's just like that's just kind of how I feel. But then you get characters like Cyan, who is a gladiator, which is the promotion up from warriors, which is like Jaha's class. You can't promote Cyan because he's already a gladiator. But if you promote Jaha from the weird thing is you promote Jaha from, he's a dwarf, and if you promote him from a warrior to a Baron, which is the 3rd class that a warrior can become, he becomes a tall, lanky guy because Lemon is your natural Baron, who is already a tall, lanky guy. But now you have a tall, lanky dwarf that used to be your tiny, short friend. And it's like, what the hell is going on here?
There are also a very limited number of stat boosting items and accessories, and this is one reason I'm glad I looked at the guide. So there's an item that Chris mentioned called Running Pimentos.
Yeah.
These are super useful because they increase your character's movement, which lets them move around the battlefield faster. But apparently, when you promote classes, Running Pimento effects can be dropped off.
Yeah.
So you want to hold on to all the running pimentos that you get until your characters are in their final class.
And thankfully in this game, you actually get kind of a warehouse because
Yes.
in the first game you didn't. You just had to offload all your unused items to your characters that you don't have on hand.
It's a little weird to me that in a game that doesn't have permadeath, that there are so many recruitable characters.
Oh,
because
man.
you can only ever use 12 of them. Which is a lot of party members to use, but like in the Fire Emblem series, one of the reason that series has so many recruitable characters is because characters can die and you'll need to replace them.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose anybody, and you can't call them in the middle of a battle. So it's having a huge variety of characters is nice in theory, but in practice, you're just going to find your 12 favorites, and those are your guys.
Yeah, and I'm actually in support of that for two reasons. One is that I like having a variety, like having enough characters of a certain play style that you can, like, if you are a big flyers person, you can have all your flyers together. If you're a big wizard person, you can have so many wizards in the class, you know. And the second thing that I like is that I've beaten Shining Force 1 so many times now that the only way that I play it now is that
The only way you can feel anything
the
anymore.
only way I can feel anything anymore is to eject it directly into go on Google Randomizer and put in all the character names, and then whatever randomizer pops up with, I take the first 11 names, and those are the only characters I can use, and I have to make it through the game with only those characters, which means if they're all late game characters, I have to go through the early game without them.
Russ,
That's fun.
it's your 5-job fiesta,
I
4-job
was
fiesta.
literally
It's-
going to say that. That is
yeah.
a 4-job fiesta,
It's
Final
an-
Fantasy V. Run.
It's 11 character fiesta.
Yeah.
And so if you do the same thing with Shining Force 2, that really spices things up. So I like the pool of characters. And plus, again, so many of them are so damn missable. Shout outs to Screech,
Yeah.
who is the second Birdman character that you can get besides Luke. And I did not even know he existed as a character until my third playthrough.
Yeah, because you have to do a couple of very specific things in the Bird City.
And then you have to backtrack there later on.
And then one day you'll be in a battle and he'll just show up.
Yes.
If you did everything correctly. There is mithril hidden throughout the game. There's
Yes.
a limited amount of mithril. And there's a hidden item that you have to find in order to grant you access to the dwarven village, where a dwarven blacksmith can turn your mithril into almost random weapons. And it's the only way to get some of the best weapons in the game.
Yeah, this is a huge RNG reset the game 1,000 times pain point for anybody who's trying to max out their game of Shining Force 2.
Yeah, you have a limited amount of mithril you can get. You go to the blacksmith and you say, hey, I've got a piece of mithril. Will you make me a weapon? Well, how many pieces do you have? How many do you want me? Just one. I don't want to reset because you screwed this up. Just one at a time. Okay, who's this weapon for? And you pick the person that the weapon is for, and they will use the mithril to create a weapon for that person. And there's like 5 or 6 possibilities each time.
It's random from a pool.
I did so much save and restore trying to get the best weapons, and I went online and I found countless, we figured out how the RNG works and how to reset the RNG, except like they only half worked for me.
Yeah, it's manipulating that kind of stuff as a non-speedrunner is so tough. And yeah, again, mithril, extremely missable. There's one that's located in the hole of the hometown as it's about to explode, and so it's permanently missable. And you have to think to search a random hole to find it. I remember that actually being in Sega Visions magazine. They revealed like the location of it. There's also one that's hidden exactly in the middle of a very long building that you have to go behind and advance the screen enough where you actually find this mithril like in the center. And there's no visual, besides the fact that you've just been moving behind this building for a while, there's like no visual cue.
And somebody did an analysis of this, and I can't speak to how accurate it is, but it seemed widely accepted. There is exactly enough mithril in the game that if your RNG is perfect, you can have one of every weapon in the game. So there's enough mithril for you to get one of each only available through mithril items.
But in reality, you're going to want 3 of the best gloves for your 3 master monks.
Yeah.
Even though they kick. There's no reason for them to have gloves.
Their hands get cold.
Okay. You'd think the rest of them would get cold because they're barely wearing anything. But anyways.
There is a hidden elf village, and off of the hidden elf village is a hidden battle that Chris was talking about earlier. But there's also another hidden battle at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You beat the game, the end comes up on the screen, and you sit there for 5 minutes doing nothing. And then it loads one last battlefield in the shape of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yep.
Where all of the enemies in this battle are the actual named bosses from battles, not just
like the big bosses.
Yeah, not Mage number 5, but like from the battles with legitimate bosses that have story consequences. It's all of them together, which is a little funny because they're not powered up. So like the first boss of the game is this cloud that you beat with your level 1 characters. He's an enemy on that battlefield.
The head gizmo.
There's a rat. So basically there's like 3 enemies that you can just one-shot in this, but they were boss characters. It is a difficult but very fun battle.
Yeah, and there's also like one of those like Contra code kind of Konami code kind of like button input codes that's so hard to pull off. It took me 1,000 years as a child to do it, but it like unlocks difficulty modes or like it lets you change like certain things about the difficulty rather. And it also even has like a debug mode and like crazy stuff, and it also allows for 2 players to play the game.
Oh, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, you can have 1 player controlling the enemies.
Russ, I know what we're doing.
Oh God.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
It's a pretty crazy mode. I don't remember what all it does, and I might be mistaken on some of this, but I remember it. I remember the 2-player mode, and yeah, there's like a lot of cool stuff you can do with the game that they just threw in, which is lovely of them.
How you doing over there, Russ?
I'm doing great.
What you looking at?
Remember the game New Zealand Story?
I do.
Don't you remember that? You kept saying the word Kiwi over and over and over again, and all I could think about was New Zealand Story, which I really enjoyed.
It's great. It was called Kiwi Craze on
It
the
is,
NES.
yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I love New Zealand Story. I'm a Taito fanboy, so I love everything Taito.
Are you also a music fanboy?
I suppose.
Would you like to talk about the music?
Yes. Okay, so not much to say about the composers, Motoaki Takenouchi, who did a lot of the Shining Force music.
I have one note. I have exactly one sentence written down before you get into it. It feels like there's only 5 tracks in this game, so you better enjoy them.
You think, but actually the music kind of changes like throughout, depending on... the other thing is that it uses a little bit of leitmotif. There's a little bit of that dun 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 dun. That bit that's like at the beginning of like the Outer World music and some of the battle themes when you're early on in the game. That always comes back, which, by the way, the original Shining Force had that as well. And I have words in my head for that tune. So the Shining Force notes for the original game is dun 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 dun. Like that. Mm-hmm. And I always think, it's a shining force. Anyways, I always,
If it was like an 80s cartoon, that would that would be included in the theme song. That would be like the end of the theme song.
Exactly. But no, this game actually has a ton of music in it, even versus the first game. It is, again, because of the fact that like the gameplay loop is being in a field which has a persistent like battle theme, but the cool thing is they change the battle theme versus whether you are attacking or whether you're being attacked. And again, your promoted characters also have different music, and there's also...
That was a nice touch when I noticed that, because the little like 8 or 9 notes that it plays when you're doing the attacking sequence. after you promote a character, they get a different theme. There's a different theme for level 1 character, class 1 characters and class 2 characters, which is
and
really cool.
Different bosses will have different music. There's big bosses, like, for instance, the Kraken. And when they attack you, it throws out this whole nother completely frantic music theme. And, like, it's scary music, really.
That's not a chessboard battle, but the Kraken battle kind of sucks, too.
The Kraken battle is a very early skill wall, that's for sure. And you have to do it from a raft, so your like movement is extremely shortened unless you have like the 2 flying characters that are available at that point. You absolutely
have to lure the tentacles to you.
Exactly.
And then they kick your ass.
Mm-hmm. Lots of like cool music for like different story beats. I really like the intro music with the lightning storm, when Slade's stealing the jewels and when the king gets like possessed by a whatever.
A cloud.
A cloud, a little goblin-y man, and whatever's going on there. That's really cool. Special shout-outs, by the way, to the Dwarf Town, where you take your mithril stuff, for being just this little jazzy, like, kind of dinky little number that is, by the way, amazing. And speaking of amazing, Shining Force 2 has one of my very favorite town themes. The one that's like da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
Yep. I'm nodding. It's an audio medium, and I'm over here nodding.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I normally don't like to hum tunes in my music reviews because that's a habit that you should not try and foment. But in this one, I can't help
hear it now.
Yeah, Shining Force. Yep. So Shining Force 2 especially has so many like just singable tunes, and again, when the game needs to lay back and like become more ambient or epic, like it will do so. It's not just like over the top marching music, which a lot of people will think of when they think of it because that's like the overworld and battle themes and such. But yeah, no, it's a huge soundtrack and it's one of the best on the Genesis in my opinion. I'm a Phantasy Star 4, like that one tops the charts for me in terms of RPGs, but like Shining Force 2 I would say is like my second or third favorite like Genesis soundtrack as far as that goes.
The tunes are very nice. I actually was singing along with some of them as I was playing.
Yeah, very singable.
You said Phantasy Star 4, and I just thought about the Phantasy Star 3 battle music and how it like creates anxiety.
It does.
It has. As soon as you go into a battle, you're like, oh my god.
They got like weirdly frantic drums. Like, sounds like a helicopter going
someone
by.
Someone is about to stab me.
Yeah.
When I think of frantic video game music, there's only one sound that comes to mind, and it's Sonic drowning.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
They put that on TikTok every now and again, and I'm like, you gotta warn a person. You can't just do that.
See, if they did the Kraken battle music, like, from that's exactly as intense to me.
Let's go ahead and move on to final thoughts, where I know Russ has a lot to say. It is no secret that I really enjoyed this game. At one point, we did a list of top 10 JRPGs, and this was on my top 10 list. And I'll say this. Often when I'm playing games, whether for review or for personal, I've usually got like a TV show or a movie going on for the non-chatty bits. Like, if I'm walking around town talking to NPCs, no, I don't have it playing because I'm reading all the dialogue. Whenever the story beats happen, I'll pause it because I'm reading all the dialogue and I'm paying attention. But, like, exploring dungeons, or in this case, like, the battles can go on for, like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I did not do that for this game. Even though the combat can go on for so long, and you could argue that there's a repetitive nature to the combat, I found myself being so engaged in the combat that, like, no, I can't be watching something. I'm focused here for this entire experience.
You got to watch those enemies, where they're going and what they're planning.
Absolutely an A+ game for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Russ?
I abstain.
Pass. Yeah, I really, really love this game. It's bigger and better in every way versus Shining Force. Except for maybe a couple of the different elements that Shining Force might have that's that they just didn't take along with them, like the very RNG heavy bits of it and things like that. But yeah, like Shining Force 2 is like super, super cool. Having said, I mean, I actually do still prefer the first game, only because I like the elements of it personally better. But yeah, Shining Force 2 is like, you know, it's definitely like a golden trophy on the Genesis exclusives.
I have a feeling that Russ is not going to want to do a Shining Force 3 review. It's just the
It's
vibe I'm
fun
getting.
listening to you talk about it.
So
So we'll do Shining Force CD.
I was going to say, so Shining Force 3, you may think was released in the U.S. because you could go to a game store and buy a game called Shining Force 3 in the U.S. You would be wrong. They released... They released a third of Shining Force 3 in the U.S. Shining Force 3 had 3 chapters, we'll call them, and they released Chapter 1 in the U.S. and not 2 and 3. You can get a fan-translated version that has all 3 chapters. I plan to play that at some point, whether or not it's part of this show or not. So we will talk about that at some point in the future. I don't know if it'll be a regular episode or a side quest, and I don't know who here will be playing it with me. We will find out. I will say it is very hard to patch and set up, in my experience.
It's Saturn, yeah.
I got it to work once, then I lost those files that worked, and I have since tried to do it again 2 times and failed. It is very tricky to get all 3 CDs patched with the translation correctly, but every year that goes by, I hope maybe somebody has simplified it. Anyway,
similar to the Game Gear games is that, you know, we got the Sword of Haja, which is the second of 2 games. I think it's the second of 2 games that had come out in Japan, and then they had a third game in Japan as well on the Game Gear, all of which tied the Shining Force 1 and 2 stories together. But then we got 2 of those Game Gear games, including the one we didn't get originally, in Shining Force CD as a remake.
Yeah, there's a lot of little... There's Shining Force Gaiden, Shining Force CD. There's a bunch of... Because there's only 3 numbered entries in the series, 1, 2, and 3. But there's a bunch of little side ones. Some of them drop the RPG element, and it's just an battle.
Yeah, and then there's like Shining in the Holy Ark, Shining Wisdom.
Yeah, so Shining Force is a spin-off of the Shining series, which we have not played, and I don't know if we're going to.
It started with Shining in the Darkness, which is a classic dungeon crawler.
I hate first-person dungeon crawlers so much.
Well, you might not like this one then.
I probably won't, because I have yet to find one I enjoy.
However, the Shining Soul series, I love those 2 games on the Game Boy Advance. They're like basically Shining Force meets Diablo. And they're isometric dungeon crawlers, and I was endlessly charmed by them. But anyways.
So the point is, I don't think as a podcast we are done with the Shining Force games completely, but I have no idea what shape or form they will come back to us in. FYI. If Shining Force 3 was easier to patch, it would be a no-brainer, but the fact that it is so difficult to acquire and get it to work, I've got a life, man. I've got other things I'm working on. I've got other projects I'm doing. I don't have days to dedicate to getting a game to work, even if it has centaurs in it. Next time, we wrap up Sequelpalooza. We do one of our look-back episodes. We talk about the 10 games we played. We revisit the tropes. We talked about the highs. We talk about the lows. And we talk about you being there to listen to us. We probably won't talk about that, but you will be there.
He's physically pointing his finger at some space between me and Russ.
Mm-hmm.
I am pointing at the listener, and they can feel it.
Is it the house ghost?
The listeners are haunting my house. No.
Okay.
All right. We will see you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
on the RNG is a presentation of Mad Centaur Productions. You can find Jeff on YouTube at youtube.com/Centaur Productions or on Twitter at Jeff Centaur. You can find Russ on Twitter at RussMac25. You can find Chris on Twitch at twitch.tv/LiarExaggerate or on Twitter at EnrichFlavor. Thank you for listening, and remember to save your game before powering off this podcast.